Hey y'all, it is Moonlight Cowboy, and today we are going to look at this gem of a location. This is over here in Charleston. I love this little spot. I haven't built here in a while. This is about the fourth or fifth time I've built here. What I like about this is you can really integrate your build into the spot and make it look natural, as you see here. And I'm going to teach you how I did it the way that you see it presented in front of you today. So, first things first, we got to put down our camp device. And as you see, I'm putting it right there, kind of over there, but right behind that little machine. Sorry, I'm taking a little looky-loo. But yeah, right over there is that corner that I put it in. That gave me the right circumference around the build area. Next thing I'm doing here is I'm lining up my wall. I'm lining it up with the structure to make sure that it's perfectly centered. And then I'm giving it just a little touch away from where I can place the wall against the natural wall that is part of the pre-existing building. And the reason for that is so that way I can go around here and I can catwalk off of there and then add my next wall right there. Yeah, like so. So one thing you're going to see that's a little tricky is the wall lengths are not going to be like conducive to like just going wall to wall to wall. So what we're going to have to do here is I'm turning this wall into a abandoned mine horizontal wall. I'm destroying it, and I catwalked off of that wall, but I didn't go a full wall length, as you see here. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. Because when I repair this, see, those walls are kind of merged together by a quarter length of a catwalk. And that got me the distance I need to get over a little bit. I probably could have brought it over a touch more, but I like the way that that came out. So from here, I'm going to try and get more walls in. And I can get another one here. This one's real easy to get in. And as you'll see here, though, I can't get this wall in. That's because the building is in the way, the one that's pre-existing right there. So I can do that same trick here, just like I did for the last wall. But what you will see here in a second is that even after I break this and whatnot, I can get the wall in, but it's not going to touch that building like I want. I want it to get really nice and snug next to that building. I don't want there to be a huge light gap that goes through. Now, you don't have to necessarily do this. You could just leave it like so, but as you see, there's a bit of a gap there, and I don't like that. So, one way you can do it, I'm not going to do it this way, but I'm just showing you, is that you can put a wall here, and then you could free place a wall. See how I'm kind of trying to gauge it by the distance? I'm trying to line it up. Now, there's good and bad in doing this. This is kind of the easier way to do it, but the one thing will be that if you're off even by like a pixel or two, it's going to show when you place your wallpaper. So just something to be careful with this if you do it this way. And I realized this partway through, so that's why I decided not to go this route. I went a little bit more of a tedious route, but it's a little bit more exact at the same time. So again, this is one way that you can do it. See how I'm lining the wall up underneath there to try and make sure that it's perfectly aligned. And I get it kind of close to it. Looks pretty good. But the other thing too is I realized here that I'm going to not get the wall into place with this as well, because it's just going to be a little too close to that wall, to the pre-existing building. So I'm going to destroy that real quick, and we're just going to test it, even though I already know what the outcome is on this one. See, I couldn't snap it in. So rather than go through the whole deal of having to redo that and try and like perfectly place that all over again, I do something completely different this time. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to catwalk off of one of these walls. And then I'm going to catwalk out a whole bunch. And from here, I'm actually going to use walls. I'm going to work my way down to the ground. And you're like, what? Why the heck are you doing that? That's crazy. You're not building down here, I don't think. The whole point of this is so I can get a foundation down here. And what I can do is I can control the movement of the foundation, and I can make little micro adjustments that I can't normally do with the walls. I'm putting a couple of foundations out a little ways, so if I lose my place here, I have like a keystone or a placeholder for me. All right, so let's see how that came out. And I'm probably going to end up doing this a couple of times. You will too if you go this route. But again, the nice thing is if you do it right, you can get pretty exact with lining the walls up correctly. So it is a good technique when you can have the option of building on the ground, because this is still kind of a floating build. But like, because I have the ground as like a backup plan, I can still work with that. All right, let's see how I did here. I don't think that's going to be good enough. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, joy. All right, cool. So we got that in. I ended up having to do this like 3 or 4 times, and I couldn't remember if I left that part in where I had to do it a bunch more times. I ended up removing that initial wall that I had in place since I know I got this here. And bam, yeah. Pretty good. And it's wallpaper side in, which is the way I want it. The other thing I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to remove it, believe it or not, and I'm going to put a half wall in place. And it's just going to be temporary because I want to be able to work off of the half wall here to get walls into place to make that back wall over there. So once I remove that, I'm going to put catwalks. So I'm going to put like the short catwalk, 90-degree bend, and then a short catwalk, kind of give me an elbow there. And then now I can place half walls. The reason why I'm doing half walls, I can't get a catwalk up through the lip of the top of that building where that goes right there, where the top of that wall meets. Won't let me place a catwalk up there, not very easily. So I'd rather just do the half walls here. It's a little bit more no nonsense. It cost me 3 extra flamingos in budget, but not super worried about it right now. More importantly is getting them in. And these aren't even the walls that I'm going to go with. I'm going to keep them there because I want to have them look like they're touching the building and there's not a huge light gap between the building. Again, not something that you necessarily have to do. I end up putting another set of walls here too, but you'll see how that works. So for now, I'm going to catwalk off of this. And I do short catwalk, bendy catwalk, 2 shorts, another 90-degree, and then another short, and then I can get my wall in. Now, I try and do it here, but it's not going to let me, which is actually a good thing because I don't want the wall sticking out of the side building. I'm like, oh, crap. All right. So we know that we're going to have to do some more fun over here with the foundation to get that into place. But first and foremost, I'm going to put my full wall back just so that way I know that's in place. Eventually I'm going to put windows on this thing, and when I do, I want them to all be able to have like the same windows on, different levels. So full walls across and then half walls in the back for now. Alright, so I'm removing those walls from that foundation. One thing you're going to notice too is I take that little line where my toolbar is at the bottom and I line it up pretty well with the foundation, and that's so that way I don't go sideways with it at all, or I go perfectly side to side with it, rather than going off and veering, because then your walls will not be perfectly aligned with the other walls. And then I just take a whole lot of catwalks and I walk it back that wall and see if it'll fit into that position. So it is, like I said, this technique is tedious, but it's more perfect for getting your walls into place rather than doing the free place thing. The only time I really do free place walls, there's 2 times in this build really. The one is the initial wall that I put down, and then the other one you'll see here in a little bit is that catty corner wall that we put in the front there. That has to be free place too. We're going to do that with the foundations as well. So no, I didn't get that wall in the perfect spot, so we're going to back that foundation up a little bit. Again, good reason to have the foundation there, because I can make those micro adjustments instead of just guessing every time I free place a wall. And then, you'll get that frustration of, oh, the wall was so close to being perfect, and then it didn't quite be perfect. Sorry, poor English today. We just had a hurricane, and so we just got our AC back, and as of the recording of this, so, I'm really excited about that, and so I'm kind of taking off some of the filters, so my apologies. But yeah, it looks like that wall fit in there just fine. We got that in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get catwalks in place. Then I've got to turn those other walls. I'm going to have to turn those into angled walls or slant walls here in a minute. But I'm just getting it down to a lower portion, so that way it's half wall up. That way I can do half wall from top and bottom, just in case. Also, I'm going to try and get my next wall in here and see if I can get that to place as well. Now, I know ahead of time that the wall isn't going to place here, but during the build, I'm kind of gauging what my limits are and what I'm going to have to do. I'm kind of getting an idea of what it's going to take to get this build done. So yeah, it won't fit right there. See, it clips out of the building. It looks like it's going to go, but it's not going to. And that's a good thing, again, because I don't want it to clip out of the side of the building. So what I'm going to do, even though I know that I can get that wall in there, I'm still going to move this over just slightly and see if I can't do a better job of getting that other wall in. It'll be less work in the long run instead of just a short-term game of getting one wall in that I can get in. If you're struggling, though, feel free to have just placed that wall where that half wall was using the technique I was talking about where you turn those other half walls into the angled walls. But for me, I just want this to kind of be easier than I could possibly make it, because I can make it as hard as I want. If you followed my channel long enough, you know that I like to I'm kind of a masochist when it comes to some of these builds. So anyways, I'm looking to see if I can get that wall in now. I moved it over a bunch, and yeah, so now it doesn't have that clipping issue. But I also know, because I went sideways with the foundation and I aligned it perfectly, that I should still be able to get my wall into place over there in that gap that I'm missing along the back end. So what I'm doing is I'm just adding a half wall down here. And yeah, now I catwalk off of that puppy. I'm going to see if I can get another wall into the side here. I didn't go full length of a wall because it won't fit there, so I went partial length. And because I did that extra work with that foundation, see, I was able to get that wall pretty close. So that's actually going to work out for me pretty well because I planned ahead on that. Again, you could have done free placing on these walls. It does become a headache, though. So now at this point, I feel really good about where the direction of those walls. So I'm going to go ahead and change these to angled walls, and I'm going to destroy them. And I know I say this in every video, but for those of you who are just watching for the first time, when you destroy the slant walls like this, they go completely intangible, meaning that they don't clip in any. If you can snap things through them, basically. So notice they're not there anymore when you're not in build mode. See? So, and sometimes because of a visual glitch, they won't show up either way, but they are there, I promise. We'll see. You'll see in a second. So now I'm going to get my last of those walls into place. And yeah. See, they're still there. And because those are the Blue Ridge set, which I have a tutorial on if you need to see how this technique really works, I can switch Blue Ridge angle or slant walls into half walls, which is fabulous. All right, so that's how this looks from start. Again, I don't go with that back end. I leave that there, and I'm going to put another set of walls right in front of it here in a minute. But so far, so good. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to end up doing this wall right now, which this is going to be, I free placed that foundation. It took me a bunch of tries to get it exactly where I wanted it to be, so don't think I'm so good that I just did it on my first try. I promise you I'm not that good. All right, so now we're going to try and get our caddy corner wall, or the wall that's going to be off center, so that way it matches the alignment of the build. Now, this is kind of a deciding point for you. You'll notice that these walls are going to be just a little bit off in the front. So I made a decision to match the wall with the natural structure. See that lip over there? It looks kind of like a rail in the front. Those walls, I lined that foundation to match those. But because I did that, they're going to be slightly off center with the walls that I placed, the ones with the wallpaper on them around there. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. But right now I'm just going to try and get my other wall into place. Because it's not a full wall length, so I'm going to have to do some wall merging to make that happen. See? So to do that, I'm going to just turn that into the Blue Ridge slant wall again, destroy that, and we're going to get our walls back up, and I'm going to catwalk off of these walls to get my half wall in. I like using the greenhouse half walls instead of the full walls. The reason for that is on the full walls of the greenhouse set, you have that big bar at the bottom, and I think that's kind of ugly. I'd rather have the full effect of like glass from floor to ceiling instead of having that bar in play. So we got our catwalk in, we got our initial wall in place. Notice I'm going back a wall a little bit, and then I'm always coming back forward. That's because I want these walls to be wallpaper side in, because I'm not going to probably keep it glass the whole time, or the whole front wall isn't all going to be glass. But as you'll see here in a second, they're going to be just slightly off center. I'm going to keep them glass just to kind of give you an example here. But they're on center with the build, with the actual pre-existing location. They're just going to be off center with the walls. But because of what we're going to do with the walls here in a little bit, it's going to make sense and it's going to work out. I promise. It looks great. So from here, I'm going to add my next set of walls, the ones that we did. I told you about that we were going to put in front of those walls in the back. So what I'm going to do here, I catwalked off of those walls that were in the back, and then I'm going to remove these walls here, the ones that I used to put my foundation in place. But see, I went all the way back and I catwalked off of those, I promise. And I did that so that way I'd have a nice placeholder here with this foundation. But what I'm going to have to do, because it jumps up like that, is I'm going to have to use some foundations and catwalks to get around to a space where I know the foundation isn't going to jump up. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second. Yep. And get another one or two in. There we go. All right. And clean up my mess a little bit. And so now I have this as my base foundation for those walls. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick that back what I feel to be about a wall length, or wall width, excuse me. So it's going to take a couple of tries here, but I want it to be hugging that other wall. Again, don't want any light gaps in the back. That's personal preference. And once I got that in place, I can start catwalking my way over there. And yep, there we go, and do my little 90-degree angle catwalk. And let's see how accurate I was with this. Bam! Look at that. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. As long as now it'll go in front of the walls without giving me any difficulty, I feel really good about this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going up another wall level because I want to use full walls on this. No need to waste any more budget. And look at that. That's like right there. That is perfect. Right in front of that other wall. Very happy about that. So what I'm going to do here, now that I know that that's going to work, is I'm just going to check to make sure I can place this in front of the other wall. Go down, do it. There we go. Perfect. All right. And this way I have a wall thickness to cover up the light gap a little bit better. You'll still have a touch of a light gap towards the very top, but it'll definitely make a little bit of a difference in your build. So from here, we got to do the same thing that we've done before. We're going to add our wall there. And then we're gonna have to turn that wall into the abandoned mindset so we can destroy it. It turns intangible when you use the horizontal set. And I'm going a little bit of a sideways length on this so that way I can get that wall in place. There we go. Notice I had already tried this a few times, so don't feel bad if it takes you like 4 or 5 attempts, because it took me 4 or 5 attempts, I promise. Oh yeah, and that's perfect. It just goes into that wall a little bit, so you're not going to have any holes. That's great. That's what you're looking for right there. So again, as long as that'll snap into position, we'll be good to go. Now that I know I can get that in, it's the right position, I'm going to destroy these walls real quick by turning them into the horizontal abandoned mindset. And I'm going to set myself up with with some tables so I can knock out the other one at the same time. And I think we're good. All right, let's try and get this wall in now. All right. And now, as long as I can get this catwalk in and these walls in, I feel really strong about the direction of this build. Yes, that went in, no problem. I'm going to add my last wall there. And that portion of this build is done. I have my walls in place. All I have to do is build up on them by adding more walls. So, that part's really easy. And I'm going to transform them into the other wall, and then I'm going to wallpaper them just to make sure that there's no there's no alignment issues. Now for the door, that laser grid door works really well here. You can't get a lot of doors here if you're struggling and you don't have that laser grid door. Try putting a couple rugs underneath the door and you might be able to get one in order to get your door in. If not, you might have to do the free place door trick. Now, I'm skipping how I did this roof right now, only because I'm going to show this in length here in a little bit on all of the roof stuff I had to do. But basically, I double roofed this because I'm going to create a platform here that's going to be my loft for my bedroom, and also to get up to the roof. But that way I could free place my ladder, which is a ladder blueprint, which all that is a catwalk, a ladder, and a mat underneath the ladder, and I blueprinted all three so I can free place it wherever I want. And now I technically have my second story for this build. This build's going to be a 3-story build, which is very unlike me, but I'm going with like the layout of the building itself. I want to utilize all of that space. So I created a little room over here, and all I did was I catwalked off of the walls that were already in place on the other side there to get that in, and that's going to be where my bathroom goes. But I want to use this this double wall here, because that part's going to be my kitchen, the other part's going to be my bathroom. But I don't want like that really ugly corner edge sitting out. So yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. See how that goes under that lip now? Because I free placed the wall. Had I not free placed that wall, it would have hung out from that little lip on the roof there. So that's why I did it that way. But it's pretty basic. As far as if you can get this far in the tutorial, you can catwalk off of those back walls to get your walls in. So I didn't really cover that much. Also, I lost a little bit of footage because the game decided to crash. So now, yeah, I'm just going to get my walls into place here, and then I just turn those into the angled walls to destroy them in order to get my other walls in place. And it's pretty easy to do. If you followed this far, I think you've got this. And we'll follow that same theme from around the build, which I'm not going to show every last part of that because I think you get the concept from this point on how this is done. And I like using the half walls on this because of the smaller windows on the front. See, the smaller windows look much better. They're more in line with the actual build itself. On the back, though, I use bigger windows. And I think that looks pretty good so far. So the very bottom I use the full walls, and on the top I use the half. Now we're going to do some roof magic. This is where it gets a little complicated. So because we free placed a couple of the walls, especially the walls in the on that caddy corner, you're going to notice there's not going to be as much flickering as you would see when you're doing roof merging, which is perfect. If you do have a bunch of flickering, you can always use rugs up top to cover that up, or you can free place your wall slightly higher on your foundation to get your roof just maybe a pixel or two above where your roofs are, in order to get another layer of roofs going, so that way you don't get that flickering. But what I'm doing here is I catwalked off of that so I can get a wall or get a foundation in place, like so. And the reason, just like I just mentioned before, I'm going up like just maybe a couple of pixels on this foundation because I don't want a bunch of flickering going on. So to avoid that, and to also give me this nice corner piece here, I'm going to catwalk off of this. I'm going to put another roof that's just slightly above the roof that I already have in place, and that's going to give me a really nice corner piece. So that roof actually has a nice corner piece to it already, but not the one that I want. I want the you'll see that there's like a special one that you can get with this set, but it only goes one way. You can't do it as a corner. So I'm putting a roof in for that purpose. Notice I'm going in sideways with this, or the other way. And when I do, you see in a second here, we're going to transform that, and that piece right there is what I'm looking for. But it only goes one way, so now when I transform this other roof, look, now I've got it going both ways. That's beautiful. That's how I want it, because it really matches the build with that. Makes it look a little taller too, and it doubles as a railing for me, right? So I'm going to get other ones in place here. Fortunately, because of the height that I did this at, I was able to snap that roof through without it really causing problems with the other building. So that's perfect. And I kind of do that along the whole roof. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's boring, but if you can see the one side, you can see how it's done through the rest of it. Same thing here. I do the exact same methodology here to get my roofs into place. Now, I want to show you how to get a door on a roof every time. So right here, up here, because of the height difference of the roof versus where my walls are at, now that I've got my roofs in place, notice that roof turns red, or that door turns red. So I'm going to destroy these roofs that are in the way. I'm going to catwalk off of that wall where I'm trying to put these doors. I'm doing it a certain distance away. I'm going to, once I get that half wall in place, as you see from here, I'm going down one more. I'm going to place a angled roof off of the bottom of that last wall down there. You'll see why in a second. There we go. And now I'm going to place a flat one. By doing this, it gets at the exact length of the bottom of that roof, which means you can then place your door. If you don't do it this way, you can still free place your door without really a problem, but that's going to be some alignment issues. I just wanted to snap it in, no problem. So look, watch now. Now that I got that roof there and its exact length to the bottom of that wall there, I can snap it in pretty much no problem. There we go. And then I just remove that setup that I had with those roofs that I put in there, and we're good. So now it's time to place your stairs to the rooftop. There are a few ways to do this. The easy way is this. This is, I free placed it after destroying everything. And then if you notice there's a little gap there, but I can put a catwalk there to fill that gap. That is the easy breezy way. Now, of course, because I'm a perfectionist, we're going to change it up a little bit in a second. But right here, as you see, I can just slap a catwalk in there. I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to do that one because it looks a little better. And this is if you want the easy way out on this. Which I don't blame you if you take it, because this is a pain to do. And that doesn't look too bad. It just comes out a little touch, right? But we're going to get it even more perfect than that. If you're still struggling with your stairs or you want them to be more perfect than that, one thing that I noticed when I was doing this was that the wall was getting in the way here. It was hit when I was going up the stairs. It was hitting the top of that wall, so I was getting stuck. So what I decided to do was I wanted to put another length of wall in place. So if you see, I catwalked off of that wall, the one that's over off the side, and put another wall going at an angle. And this way, I can actually go a little bit longer on that wall by doing a wall merge here, right? So we're going to now place this wall. Oh, look, I can't because I didn't catwalk enough off of there. Watch this, though. I'm going to go one more short catwalk and then go in with my 90 degree. I'm just going to do a simple wall merge here. I'm going to go one more in, and the reason for that is so I can flip that wall going the other way, because I really want that that effect up there throughout my build, having that responder wall set facing out. And then, yeah, I can just place my wall right there. And I do that on both sides. And then this way, my head won't hit the top of that wall going in. It also added a little extra character to the build too. So it looked a little custom. When you put the bars up there, it actually looks really cool, like the bars on that responder set. And yeah, so from here, I'm going to remove those stairs. I'm going to add my wall here. I'm going to show you the other way. This is the way to get it even more accurate. Notice I was able to get my stairs in there, no problem. And it took me a lot of tries to do that. But I'm still going to show you one other way. If you're still struggling to get your stairs in there, I'm going to show you one more way you could do it. So, yes, the struggle is real. So say you're still struggling to get your stairs in. That wall that you just made, catwalk off of that. And remove the front door, but keep your door there. Remove your front door, keep your door. And then you're going to catwalk, you're going to destroy those catwalks. You're going to then be able to add your stairs because the wall isn't in your way anymore, because the wall is the thing that was probably causing you problems from putting your stairs in. And we destroyed those catwalks so we can pop them right back into place, because a lot of times they'll give you problems going over stairs. And yeah, so we were able to get the stairs done. That looks great. I'm really happy with that. And because I gave myself that extra lip, I can walk up straight from those stairs. So now we're going to do the stairs leading from the entrance. So what I did here was I catwalked off of that. I went 4 catwalk lengths. I'm sorry, 5 catwalk lengths. I don't even know. And then I did stairs. I did that so that way it was as close to that like roof eave system as I could get. But really all I'm doing is I'm doing all of this just to place a foundation. Because I think I can get a little closer than what the catwalks would let me place. See, I still have a little bit of a distance off of there. So I'm going to remove all of that, and I'm going to add a foundation down here. Bueno. Oh, it's saying I can't remove it because the foundation isn't truly grounded. So we're going to ground it right now. Like, yo, ground it. And now I can remove it. I'm going to try and get a little bit closer to it. I'm going to do a catwalk. I'm going to do stairs. If I feel really confident about it, like I do, because I've checked it, it touches that eave perfectly, and I'm never going to be able to remove these stairs again. I mean, not without a real heartache and pain, but I've got stairs going up to the back, and I like those low profile ones, right? So last thing I'm going to show you on this part is the triple roof part. So once notice when I added all those roofs, I did them at an angle. Now with these roofs, I put them in flat once all my roofs are destroyed. And that way I can get nice underneath of my roofs. Like, again, not something you have to do. But for me, I wanted the inside of my roofs to look really nice. So once I put them down flat, I can angle them up. And they're still going to be like slightly lower than the roofs that are already there. By just a touch, but enough to where when you go inside, it'll look really nice at the bottom of your roof. So extra steps, but extra nice. I just do that all throughout the entire build. Takes a lot of burning down roofs to get them to merge, but roofs are very friendly when they're destroyed. Like, you can snap things through them no problem, just like you can with the slant walls. Sometimes you might struggle to get your roof in because it's saying it won't snap. So what I do is I'll just catwalk off of there, and then I'll snap one, like so. I'll flip it so it's going the way that I want it to. And then I can remove those catwalks, and I can get another roof in because it was not finding the snapping point at the top of that wall anymore because I had too many roofs snapped to it. And I just do this throughout the entire build to get my roofs into place, so I have nice underneath roofs. I don't have a jetpack on most of my characters, only like my main character, so I do die a lot, just so you guys know. If you think that you're like, oh man, he just jumps around, no problem. No, I do, and then I die too. And I'm doing it for the front here as well. See, I went on, I catwalked off of that wall down there. If you struggle to catwalk off a wall, just change one below it to an angled wall. And that's how the base structure looked when it was done. I thought that looked real sharp. I was super proud of that. But let's talk about this railing. So I know this is going to come up. So this railing I thought was a really cool idea. So I destroyed this wall here just to get the railing in place. The first set. Notice I did it on mats, right? I'd stacked a whole bunch of mats. I spammed them into place. I did like, I want to say it was 20 or 24 of them. And then I'm going to remove them 4 at a time. And the reason being is I want it to be just the same, the height distance for each one. And notice I can't even snap anything to it unless it's at least 4 of these blue mats down. So we're going to go one more. Oh. Yep. There we go. So for every 4 blue mats, you can put another one without it intersecting and have to burn stuff down, right? So yeah, I just do this a bunch of times, and I put in those round conduits in between to make them look like they're posts holding up the railing without having to do anything with like a stairs post or something. And I did that at intervals that were even, so it makes it look even more custom. And I just take it down the 4 mats again. And when I'm attaching that first little angle piece, all I'm doing is I'm picking it up, and then I'm turning off snapping, and it takes it directly down to the level of the mat perfectly. So you never have to worry about like guessing if you're going the right height. And really, it's just a matter of getting the snap in after that. They'll snap in. Sometimes you just have to set them on the ground first to get them to snap in. Sometimes they'll go into place, no problem. It's a little finicky when you're working in tight spaces. And do it again. And I realized that I forgot to pick up the thing and turn snapping off, so it goes straight below. So I do that right now. Yeah, and that looks pretty good. I'm going to take it down to no mats because that was the last 4. Set that down, and now my railing's about complete. So this video was a lot. I did this for somebody who had asked me to build here. So if you guys don't know, I'm a real person over here. I work a real job. So when I have time, I do accept like build ideas and requests. If there's there's a spot you've always wanted to build in or something, like, hey, can you try this or something? I do those things. So if you ever have anything like that, I do listen to them. Doesn't mean I always get to them. Because I do get a lot of requests, but I do know this location pretty well. As you see, I think the railing came out pretty cool, unique. I haven't seen one quite like that before. And that's kind of how it ended up. I floated that Atlantic City sign off of a mat underground to get it up there, and then I just snapped stairs posts through it when it was destroyed, and added conduits to get the light into place there. For those of you who have watched this whole almost 40-minute long video, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for following me. If you like what you saw, subscribe, tell your friends. It all helps. I really appreciate your time. You all stay blessed. Have a blessed day. Stay safe out there.